See how easy it comes out?
And see how easy it goes in?
How'd you get along with Rerun?
Fine. Fred, it was the most serious one. So you had to kind of say, Fred, you in a good mood today? Yeah, okay.
So one day I told Fred that I wanted to leave. I didn't like it. I didn't because I was too straightforward. He was like, okay. Next thing I know, he took a hammer, put it in his back pocket, walked down some stairs, and he started breaking my damn windows out my convertible. He broke all my damn windows out my car so I couldn't leave. That's how bad he didn't want me to leave.
Why would the studio fire an actor who was the heart and soul of the show? Did Hollywood break him, or was fame and success just too much for him? In the 1970s, he became an icon in the Black community with his signature beret and dance moves. But the studio just fired him from the show. What happened here? Watch till the end to find out. Fred Allen Berry was born in St. Louis, Missouri on March 19, 1951, and grew up in the inner-city housing projects. The life in the projects had a lasting impression on him and gave him a unique perception of life. Fred Berry and his family moved to Los Angeles in 1965. He wanted to dance but was not interested in studies as a young kid. Fred dropped out of high school in the 10th grade. He once said it was because the school wanted him to read books on a 4th grade reading level. Even as a child, he dreamed of becoming a dancer and an actor, which he started by performing as a street dancer and later dancing with the Los Angeles-based dance troupe, The Lockers. Lockers were famous then and did opening acts for big names like Bill Cosby and Dean Martin. Fred Berry had a natural flair for rhythm and movement. Berry's recognition in the dancing community eventually opened doors for him on the small screen. He legally changed his middle name to Rerun after his success on the What's Happening show. Fred Berry appeared on the 3rd episode of Saturday Night Live in 1975, marking his entrance to the small screen. Then there was the dance music show Soul Train and the early 1970s dance step, the slow-mo. 1976 was a remarkable year for Fred Berry. He started playing the role of Freddie Rerun Stubbs on the ABC sitcom What's Happening. The show's producers wanted a skinny white actor for the Rerun character, but Fred Berry was able to convince them otherwise. The show centered on 3 teenagers, Rerun, Raj, and Dwayne, living in Watts, Los Angeles. What's Happening was the first African-American teen sitcom to reach the Nielsen Top 30 during its first season in 1976. Freddie Rerun was an immediate hit with the audience with his trademark suspenders and red beret. During the 1970s, Fred Berry was one of the biggest stars of American television, entertaining millions of viewers. Rerun is portrayed as a dim-witted yet cool teen. He used his dancing skills to woo the audience. And the nickname refers to the fact that Freddie Rerun had to retake all the classes in summer school. In the show What's Happening, the characters of Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne were all high school students. But other than Haywood Nelson, who played Dwayne, other actors were much older. Haywood Nelson was 16 when the show premiered, while Thomas was 26 and Fred Berry was 25. The show ran from 1976 to 1979 and captured the essence of the Black community in the 1970s, portraying 3 Black kids dealing with the struggles of being a teenager. This was in contrast with some of the shows that describe Black kids as tough guys, basketball players, or welfare recipients. What's Happening was Berry's first acting gig, which helped him become a millionaire by 29. But he didn't handle his fame and money well. It was reported that he lost his fortune because of depression and a high-flying lifestyle. He was into drugs and alcohol, being a heavy user of marijuana and different types of drugs. And he spent over $1 million on drugs, cars, homes, and his private plane. His success as Freddie Rerun also saw him being stereotyped with the character, unable to land any other acting role after the show ended. Do you know that Freddie Rerun influenced the success and the fall of What's Happening? While the show ran out in 1979, What's Happening kept its popularity in syndicated rerun appearances on other networks, attracting new fans. This led to the show returning in 1985 with almost all the original cast as What's Happening Now. Fred Berry was unafraid to speak with the studio executives about his pay and facilities. During the second season of What's Happening, Fred demanded better pay and studio accommodations for the show's actors. This resulted in a walkout by him and Thomas, bringing the production to a standstill. Furious, producer Bud Yorkin in turn suspended the pair, but the dispute was settled with the studio asking the actors to sign $25,000 promissory notes to return to the show and prevent further walkouts. Both actors returned to the next episode. But the troubles didn't stop there. Barry was convinced he was the reason the audience was tuning into the show and wanted better pay. Was he being greedy at this point? Did Rerun get along with the other cast members? Shirley Hemphill had this to say.
Fred was the most serious one. So you had to kind of say, Fred, you in a good mood today? Yeah, okay. Sometimes he was and sometimes he wasn't.
Yeah.
During the third season, which ran from 1978 to 1979, Barry again threatened to strike by not appearing in the third season episode, Dee the Cheerleader. Thomas joined Barry in the strike threat, which led to a heated meeting between the actors and executive producers. Barry even accused the studio of racism. Wow. Can you believe all of that drama was going on behind closed doors in our beloved show? Alas, the meeting did not end in the way Fred Barry expected. Unable to come to terms, the producers opted to cancel the series.
And then in 1979, the show gets canceled. And you didn't even know it was coming.
No, found out from a newsstand guy.
But Fred took all the cast members. All of them went and asked for more money. By the time Fred asked for more money, he looked like he was crazy. He looked like he was being like a problem, as I would say, because he was asking more. When they went, everybody agreed, yeah, we're going to get paid the same thing. When he got there, everybody shut up. He the only one stood up. And then that's why after that, they wrote him out and it went to What's Happening Now. But there were other things that they had promised him because they had went into syndication. It didn't go quite like he wanted. And I'm not gonna lie too, I probably think that Fred may have been a little bit of a problem because some of the documents I read, some of the things I seen, he is very, very outspoken. He didn't care. He was bold with what he said. If he didn't like something, he would say it.
So, not only did Barry get fired, but the entire show got canceled. How did one person's action affect so many people? No, it didn't stop there. In 1985, the sequel, What's Happening Now, was launched, and Fred Barry played the grown-up Rerun. But before long, the same issue popped up with Fred Barry asking for a deal far beyond the show's budget. Studio didn't wait around this time, knowing negotiating would be hopeless. They simply fired Fred Barry before the end of the first season and moved ahead with the show without him. Do you think Fred deserved more pay? Was Fred snubbed because he was a black actor? Fred Barry's widow, Essie, thought he was just asking for fair pay. When Fred asked for more money, the studio just let him go. But it was hard for Fred because he had worked hard to create that character, and someone just took it away from him.
Back in the 70s, black actors were making $5,000 an episode, where white actors were making $8,000 an episode.
She told the media, "Is it possible that Fred Barry was fighting for us all?" Fred Barry was married 6 times to 4 different women. Are you confused? Well, he married 2 of them twice. His first marriage was with Francesca on January 11, 1976. He divorced her within a year and remarried her again in 1978, but it didn't last. His second marriage to Carol Ann Ross lasted almost 7 years. Fred Barry's 4th and final wife was Essie, whom he married in 1999. They were together until he died in 2003. Barry had 3 children, daughter Portia and sons Fred Barry Jr. and DeShannon. Fred Barry was not so lucky with his health and lived a turbulent life, dealing with drugs, alcohol, food, and sex addiction. Did you know that he tried to take his life 3 times? He failed but was dealing with depression for most of his life. Was Fred Barry an abusive husband? After all, he was married 6 times to 4 different women. His last wife, Essie, spoke about Fred and resorting to physical violence to the media once. It happened when she wanted to leave.
So one day I told Fred that I wanted to leave and I wanted to go back. Why I told him I wanted to go back to Georgia because he had brought me out to California. I felt like it was coming from the dogs to the wolves, period. I felt like everybody had a personal motive. Everybody wanted something. They wanted something out of you. I didn't like it. I didn't, because I was too straightforward for a lot of these people out here, and they felt like I had an attitude. No, I'm just direct and I'm not going to hear that bullet crap. So I don't know what happened. All I know is he was like, okay. Next thing I know, I go back to the room, finna go outside. Fred to put his damn beret on his head. He took a hammer, put it in his back pocket, walked down some stairs. So we had a little penthouse, real nice place. And he started breaking my damn windows out my convertible. He broke all my headlights. He broke my windows. He broke all my damn windows out my car so I couldn't leave. That's how bad he didn't want me to leave. And why I was going to leave is because Fred was married 6 times. 2 of the women he married twice. These other women have brutal stories too. I didn't even know he was an abusive person. So this old lady that was from the South, she said, Essie, I want you to come hear something. Where we were at, they had this garage and he would sell old antiques. She made me hide behind this stand.
He entered a substance abuse treatment program. He also struggled financially for several years. Film roles were few and far between. He earned money from shopping mall appearances and corporate events. In 1990, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. At the time, he weighed almost 300 pounds, and his weight threatened his health. Under his doctor's advice, who told him he had to lose weight if he wanted to live longer, he started maintaining a strict diet regimen, losing about 108 pounds and 18 inches off his waist. Fred Berry quit acting after What's Happening Now, which was a sequel to What's Happening, and rediscovered religion, becoming a motivational speaker and a Baptist minister in Madison, Alabama, at the Little Shiloh Primitive Baptist Church. He declared he had found God who had turned his life around. In October 2003, Berry suffered a stroke, and his health steadily deteriorated. Fred Berry passed away on October 21, 2003 at his Los Angeles home and was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills. He was 52 years old at his death.